must be the greatest. I told the world, I prophesied every day. The best ever.
Welcome to the DL Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Coach D, along with co-host Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, where we talk about the sport you and I love, boxing. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 45. Thank you guys for tuning in. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, let him know what's on tap, brother.
Yeah, let's talk about that fight recap, man, where we had some great fights, dude. Fights that made you say, wow, man.
Yeah, brilliant fights, right? Exactly. Kept us on our toes, and man, it was great results.
Fights, man.
Great fights. Bad Chaz, what else do we have on tap, brother?
Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about Fight Week, and that's going to highlight some of the fights that are going to be coming up this weekend that are going to show some of the prospects that are going to be fighting. It's also going to have the main event with Tszyu and Brian Mendoza, so you guys are going to want to stay tuned.
Yeah, that's going to be a thriller, man.
It is.
All right, guys, well, it's time to recap the fights that happened last weekend, guys. But before we get started with that, guys, we want to say a shout out to Team Nuñez on their recent victory. Rick Nuñez Jr. improved to 3-0 with 2 knockouts. Congratulations, Team Nuñez.
Good job, pretty boy.
Yeah, congrats.
All right, guys, let's turn our attention to the DAZN main event, which featured the return of Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. He scored a unanimous decision over 10 rounds over the rough and tough Joe Smith Jr. This was at the cruiserweight division, 200-pound limit. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, Zurdo was trying to show everybody that he's back, right? And we said in last week's episode, we were like, hey, this is maybe a 50-55 because we didn't know what each one had left in them. What did they show you, brother?
Oh, man, dude, just Zurdo was impressive, man, dude. He started off fast, and he controlled most of the fight. But even, too, when Joe Smith had him backed up and he had him against the corner, I seen some footwork that, Ramirez did to get away from a lot of those power shots, man. And he put himself in a position to where he can fire back and counter. And you know what, dude? I thought he looked really good at that division, dude. And I want to see what he does in that division because he might be the top guy in that division if he continues to fight like that, man.
Yeah, and it was impressive to be 20 pounds heavier, and he moved better than ever, in my opinion.
He did.
Bad Chaz being under the tutelage of Julian Tszyu and Malik Scott.
Yeah.
They both worked together, and it showed dividends in the fight. You saw a Zurdo that was lighter on his feet, had that mobility, gave angles to Smith, made him miss, a lot more than what Smith landed. Smith had that heavy punch, in which Zurdo took pretty well, man. You could tell, he felt the power, but he stayed composed. What'd you think about all that, man?
Oh, you know what? Just like you said, putting on that extra weight and then the way he was able to manage it in the ring and kind of move around and make Joe Smith kind of chase him down, and ultimately kind of wear down his stamina. And then kind of going back to, what you said, Zurdo took some heavy shots, but he took them well. Then he was able to kind of adapt, still move in the ring and kind of adjust to what he needed to do to land some impressive shots to kind of win each round. Joe Smith might have won maybe a round or two, but ultimately Zurdo, he went in there and he took the fight.
Yeah. And speaking of corner, Malik Scott in Zurdo's corner was giving him precise instructions in which it looked like Zurdo really took well and showed in the ring. Like I said, the angles and just controlled the pace of each round. Where does he go from here? Neighborhood on Reels. I believe this was a WBA eliminator. So if he tracks down a title here in cruiserweight, I have a feeling they might bait Canelo, right? Because Canelo's always, wanted to be a 5-division champ. He was touting fighting Badu Jack for the WBC title last year. Zurdo wins a title. Can you see a Zurdo-Canelo fight?
Definitely, man. You're right on the money with that. I think if Zurdo wins a title, Canelo will definitely be chasing him for that. And that'll be a big, huge freaking fight right there, man, because it's Mexico versus Mexico, and Canelo will go up another division, dude, and just claim his stake that he's one of the best fighters ever, man. And that'd be crazy. I didn't think of that. I thought of Canelo going up to heavyweight, but man, I didn't think he would go down to.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
And speaking of Mexico versus Mexico, one of the things that really, I love what Zurdo said in one of the interviews that I saw was, they asked him about Canelo and his performance with Charlo, and he had nothing but good things to say. He said, as a fellow Mexican, I support, our fellow champions, those that represent Mexico, I support them all the way. And, that was really cool, Zurdo, to say that, man, because as we all know, a lot of other Mexican fighters, they like to, downgrade, their fellow countrymen. Yeah. But props to Zurdo on that, guys. But congratulations, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, on your victory. All right, guys, let's turn our attention to the other main event. In England, we had an amazing fight between Leigh Wood and Josh Warrington, two countrymen battling it out. Leigh Wood comes out with a TKO in the 7th round, improves to 28-3 with 17 knockouts. Josh Warrington drops to 31-3, one draw with 8 KOs. But man, Bad Chaz, this was a war. Warrington put the war in this fight. Yeah. He came to fight. We kind of sold him short a little bit on the last episode. Yeah. But man, like neighborhood, we were talking earlier, when you have two countrymen clashing, they both step up their game, and we got a war. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, man.
Josh Warrington, he went in there to show no respect. He went in there to show that he's the top in his country, and nothing but respect for that guy. I can't wait to see where he goes from there. I want to see his next fight, whether he lost this fight or not. He was winning those rounds. It just seemed like Leigh Wood, he seemed patient. He took those shots, and then he just landed the right shot to kind of seal the deal. But yeah, Warrington, man, he made that a firefight. He made it interesting. He made it fun. He made you pay attention. And Leigh Wood, though, he rose to the occasion, man. And it just made me like him that much more, So nothing but good things to say about both of those guys, and can't wait to see what's next, because that was a really entertaining fight.
Yeah, Leigh Wood is just a tremendously fan favorite fighter. Yeah, he's like the modern Arturo Gatti, man, in the sense that when you see him, you're going to be entertained, and he's going to bring the fight, win, lose, or draw, man. He's just exciting, must-watch TV. A neighborhood hero, Ryan Rios. Leigh Wood started off the fight. The first 2 rounds, he kind of seemed to control Warrington from the distance. But then around the 3rd round, he decided to turn orthodox. And all of a sudden, Josh Warrington started having success against the ropes, doing 3-4 punch combinations that were kind of stunning Wood. And Warrington started taking over the, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, and it was looking a little bleak for Wood for a second, right? Tell us around those rounds, what were you thinking, man?
Like Chaz said, man, Warrington brought the war, man, and he started to bang with Wood, dude, and he caught Wood with some shots, man, and it made Wood stumble and look uneasy, and I was just like blown away, because I didn't give Warrington much of a shot. I thought it was going to be easy work for Wood, but that wasn't the case, man.
No, right.
Warrington went in there to win, dude. He didn't go there to collect a paycheck like some of the fighters do, right? And I was just super impressed, because, like I said, I didn't give him much of a chance. I thought it was easy work. But man, with Leigh Wood, dude, Leigh Wood's the comeback kid, dude. You seen what he did with Conlon, man, right. And he's a true life Rocky, because he was getting banged up against Warrington, and you never want to count Wood out, dude.
No, never.
You never want to take a like you said, gas. You never want to take your foot off the gas, dude. Yeah. And Wood did it, man, and he still has that fighter's chance, dude. He's the true life Rocky to me, dude, and he went out there and he handled business when he needed to, dude. When I thought Warrington was taking over, Wood just surprised me and caught him with the shot, and lights were out. Same thing with what he did with Conlon, man. He was done. Yeah. And just super impressive, dude. Makes me love the sport even more, and I'm a huge fan of Wood just for that.
I don't even think they were running off gas anymore. I think they were running off fumes, and they had to dig for it,
Just like, adrenaline.
It just reminds us why we love boxing, because it's kind of unpredictable, right?
Absolutely. Like, and what was amazing, man, and it goes to show you, with the drop of a hat, anything can happen within that 10-second warning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This happened within the 10-second warning in that 7th round, where he lands that right hook and the combination that put Warrington flat on his back. Warrington gets up, guys, unsteady. He kind of, the bell rings. So I'm assuming maybe he's thinking, okay, I get to go back to my corner. But when he went back to his corner, he's stumbling, right? He's doing the stanky leg, and he's feeling the effects of those shots, man. Yeah. And so really exciting finish, right? Unexpected. But then now after the fight, then the question remains, did the ref do the right thing in stopping that fight? Because, like I said, it was the end of the round, so technically Warrington would have that 1 minute in between round rest to maybe recoup. We did post it on our Instagram, a poll. did you agree with the referee stop? Is yes or no? And the results, it was almost 50-50, but the slight majority said that yes, the referee did the right thing. Warrington, didn't look good. And, I can kind of agree after looking at it a few more times. He saved them to fight another day, which maybe we might see Wood Warrington too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it could be at 130 because I believe Wood was already struggling to make the 126-pound limit. Yeah. But boy, would I love to see it at 130 as well, guys. Oh man, congratulations, Leigh Wood, on a fantastic victory. All right, guys, it's fight week. All right, guys, it's fight week. Let's preview the ESPN card out of Rosenberg, Texas. And we're going to shine some light on the prospects that will be performing on that card, guys. And the first one we want to shed some light on is Giovanni Marquez. He is 6-0 with 4 knockouts. He is a welterweight fighter. He is a son of former junior middleweight champion Raul Marquez, who was a champion back in the 90s and, fought the likes of Fernando Vargas, Yuri Boy Campas, Jermaine Taylor, really, really good fighter, man. So his son is fighting. He will take on Donte Strayhorn in the 6th-round fight. Man, I'm glad to see him on Top Rank. Exactly. Ryan Rios, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, that's awesome because Top Rank, you guys all know how they build up the fighters, man, and how they get them, the right fights, dude. Great matchmaking. So I want to see Top Rank build them up and see what they can do with Marquez because, dude, he's definitely fan-friendly and he goes in there not just to bang, but also to box, dude. So that's very exciting, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad Chaz, young fighter. This is a great opportunity for Marquez to show, he's going to have more eyes on him. Great opportunity. What do you think, man?
Oh, you know what? Just kind of going back to what you guys said, he's a prospect, but he's a prospect of a household name. So, he kind of has a little bit of a pressure on him, but at the same time, he's going to kind of go in there and I think he's going to make a good performance, for his family's sake and for his father's legacy and stuff and kind of go in there and make a good impression. And it's going to be nice to kind of see him grow, at Top Rank. Take a little time with them, make the right fights for him and stuff. Yeah. And let's see him kind of, climb the ladder and make a good impression, on boxing. And hopefully he can't wait to see what's next for him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not miss Giovanni Marquez versus Donte Strayhorn. All right, guys. Also fighting on that card is Tulsa's own Richard Torrez Jr., the 2020 silver medalist. He will take on Tyrell Anthony Herndon in the 6th-round bout. Richard Torrez Jr. is 6-0, all 6 victories by way of knockout. Tyrell Anthony Herndon is 21-4 with 14 knockouts. Tyrell's coming on a 9-fight win streak, guys, and this is the most experienced fighter Richard Torrez Jr. has fought to date in the pros. Bad Chaz, what are you looking to see in Torrez in this fight against a more experienced fighter, man?
You know what? I like what I see. He's taking a little more risk each time he gets in the ring with a new opponent. Yeah. But I know that Richard Torrez, he trains his ass off. He puts in the work. Yeah. He's very disciplined. And I mean, it just shows. With what he's accomplished in the in the past and with the Olympics and stuff. And he's with Top Rank, so they're not going to put him in any kind of jeopardy situation, but they're going to make sure that it's going to be a challenge for him. It's a new challenge. Yeah. So I think that he's going in there against somebody that has like you said, a good winning streak, and I think that he's going to go in there and he's going to have some opposition against him. But I think that Richard Torrez has what it takes.
Yeah, good. Well said, Bad Chaz. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, Richard Torrez, he wants to show what he has in that tool bag, right? He wants to show more tools, and hopefully Tyrell Herndon is able to get that out of him, right? Because it looks to me like he's maybe could be a little bit frustrated, knocking these guys out with one shot, ending it in the first round. I think if he wants to work on showcase his skills that he's just as good in the 5th round as he is in the 1st round. What do you expect? Maybe Tyrell to maybe give him that opportunity. Hopefully, if he could take those shots.
You know what? I want to see Richard Torrez just keep putting that foot on the gas, dude, and not letting these opponents just be in the fight. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to. Think too much about what his opponent's going to do, but what he wants to do and just impose his will, dude. And that's what he's been doing. Keep with what works, what I mean? Right. And don't do anything special because Richard Torrez is special, man. And he has that puncher's chance at all times. And it's good that this guy is, 21-4 with 9, wins in a row. And I think Richard Torrez, it might be his hardest test today, but I think he knocks him out with within one or two
There's always
rounds.
that chance because as we know, Richard Torrez is a heavy puncher.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, I know deep inside Richard wants to show his skills.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully Tyrell maybe gets him in the 4th and 5th rounds, and then Richard could finish him off there. But yeah, we all expect Richard to put on a terrific performance.
Yeah.
So do not miss Richard Torrez Jr. versus Tyrell Anthony Herndon. All right, guys. Another prospect on that card is Keyshawn Davis. He is 9-0 with 6 knockouts. He will take on Nahir Albright, who is 16-2 with 7 knockouts. This is a 10-rounder. Keyshawn Davis fights in the stacked 135-pound lightweight division. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, what's been your report card on Keyshawn Davis so far?
Yeah, just that he's technically sound, man.
Right.
He does everything right. Another fighter that's just man, I don't see him losing anytime soon. But at the same time, I know he's calling out the big names, and I don't know if that's just to get more attention on him or what. But if he wants those
Showing
big
that confidence
names,
already up.
yeah, if he wants those big names, he better look impressive, dude. Because you're not just gonna want to call out some dude like Keyshawn or actually Keyshawn calling out some dudes that
Like Frank Martin.
He doesn't need to be in the ring with yet. You know what I mean? Unless he can prove that he is that guy. So we'll see against this fight. This guy's 16-2, and hopefully he has some power and he might touch Keyshawn a little bit. But we'll see. I think Keyshawn Davis is definitely a great prospect, and he'll be around for a while, man.
Right. With that said, Chaz, Keyshawn Davis, what are some things that stand out in your opinion as far as his style?
He's a sharpshooter. I think he sets up his punches beautifully, and then he doesn't really give up too much of his defense while delivering that package. He goes in there and he's good at his offense, but he's defensively responsible, and I think that's a beautiful thing that he offers.
Good reflexes, good eyes.
Yeah, good reflex. He learns his opponent and what his opponent's doing. He's paying attention to his reaction and where he can set up his next shot, to where he can basically land, an accurate shot that's going to devastate his opponent. And I think that, he's going to be a problem down the road, but I think that right now, let's just kind of
one step at a time.
One step at a time. Let's not rush anything, you know what I mean? And I think that you'll make those big fights with your performances, not with what you have to say.
Well said, guys. Do not miss Keyshawn Davis versus Nahir Albright. All right, guys, let's turn our attention to the main event this weekend, and that's going to be on Showtime, featuring WBO junior middleweight titleist Tszyu, 23-0, 17 knockouts. He takes on Brian La Bala Mendoza, 22-2, 16 knockouts. Like I said, this is for the WBO junior middleweight title over 12 rounds. Man, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, both can hit.
Yeah.
Both have that warrior's instinct, and it's going to be a clash of mega proportions. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I'm big on Tszyu right now, man. Everything that he does and he's been doing is just super impressive. And Brian Mendoza was super impressive with that last one against Sebastian Fanduda.
Yeah, knocked him out.
And I just don't think he brings that type of power to Tszyu. I think Tszyu is just a different animal, dude, different level. And I think since it's going to be in Tszyu's territory, dude, he's going to want to impress again and just be spectacular, dude, and leave no doubt, dude. And I'm rooting for Tszyu, and I just want to see him do something special because I want him to keep climbing that ladder, dude, and just making a bigger name for himself, dude, because he's just a class act in my book. I love watching him fight, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm getting vibes of Wood Warrington actually in this fight. Neighborhood hero Real.
Yeah, good
this
point.
could be a nice war while it lasts, right? I don't know. What do you think, Batchez?
I think you're kind of right on the money there. I think that that's going to be one of those fights where we might see them banging in the phone booth,
Right?
You know? But I think that, like Rio said, I think that Tszyu, he's just another level above. But I'm not going to take that from Brian Mendoza. We discredited Josh Warrington previously, but he went in there and he delivered a war, it just depends on that day and that moment in time, where they're at in their thoughts. And I think that, maybe the camp's going to have a lot to do with it. But I think I'm a believer in Tszyu. I like everything that I see him and how he talks and presents himself. And I want to see him climb the ladder. But I think Brian Mendoza, he knows how to get in the pocket and bang with you. You know what I mean? So don't be in there too long with them, because he might land something that reminds you that you're in the boxing business. Yeah, right. Because anything can happen.
Hurt business, right?
And then, like you said, dude, don't expect, expect the unexpected.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because honestly, when I root against somebody, I'm always a lot of times proven wrong, man. And I don't mind that at all because I always want to see that, dude. And You know, it's just I think it'll be a good fight while it lasts, but again, man, like I'm rooting for Tszyu, dude, and I just want to see him do something fucking special, man.
Yeah, and if he does, it'll be a big statement in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? If he wipes out Mendoza, that's like,
and
wow.
I think Tszyu, he's one of the guys that deserves some of the bigger fights, some of the bigger names. And I think that, you know, hey, let's give it to him, you know, within the next 6 months or a year. Let's see him up against some of these other names that are in the top tier of that division. So, yeah, we want to see him perform well.
Yeah, and speaking of, the winner, obviously will be WBO junior middleweight champion. In an interview, Tszyu was said that, you know, how he was awarded, you know, the Jermall Charlo, who fought Canelo, was stripped of that WBO title, and Tszyu was saying, you know what, I don't feel like the champion. You know, I want to win it in the ring. So, you know, the winner of this fight, you know, becomes the WBO junior middleweight champion, although Tszyu is defending it. And I guess where I'm going from here is the winner should fight, obviously, Jermall Charlo for the rest of the titles to become undisputed champion. And that's something both Tszyu and Mendoza, you know, obviously, upon winning this fight, you know, has their eyes set on, you know, a big fight with Jermall Charlo as he comes back down. That should be exciting as well, right? I mean, so we got big things coming in the junior middleweight division, you know, and we can't wait to see it unfold, you know, within the next year. Yeah, absolutely, guys. So do not miss Tszyu versus Brian Mendoza. All right, guys. Well, it's time to talk about the current events in boxing. And let's talk about a pivotal moment this week where female fighters joined together to petition the right to have the option to choose 3-minute rounds and 12-round championship fights. So in wake of Serrano Ramos fight, which is, I believe, later on this month, which they're going to fight 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds.
Oh, wow.
For, you know, the title bout, which is, you know, unprecedented for women's boxing. But this petition is being backed by former female champions and fighters such as Christy Martin, Laila Ali, and also a bunch of the current crop of women fighters. I believe it's a good thing, man. They should have that option to, hey, I want to fight 3-minute rounds and participate in the sport of boxing. That Chaz, what's your opinion upon hearing this petition that they're having?
I'm all for it. I want it. You know what I mean? We talked about this early on in a earlier podcast. I think that it's great. I think that, hey, if they want it, give it to them, but give them more pay. The boxing organizations need to pay them more money if they're going to be fighting longer rounds, you know, more rounds. And then I think that, you know, it's going to also showcase more of their performance and more of their skills in the ring. It's going to actually give them that time to progress, because you watch some of these women's boxing and it's just like, oh, the round's up. Like they were just getting into it. You know what I mean? So I think that it's going to make it even that much better for the women's boxing.
Yeah, it seems like they're almost, well, in my opinion, almost forced to be overactive as to where they could maybe have that, like Bad Chasman mentioned, that extra time to follow a game plan, you know, and not be in a rush, so to speak. Your opinions on that, Neighborhood Hero? Yes.
All I can say is I think it's going to separate the good fighters from the great fighters, man. You know what I mean? And it's going to be like, who really belongs there? You know what I mean? And I think we'll see a different face, you know, for female boxers, dude, after this is all well settled, man. Yeah,
well said, man. Absolutely, man. So shout out to all the women boxing that are behind this. We support you 100%. All right, guys, let's turn our attentions to the Philippines, who have made a special request to the International Olympic Committee, and that is to let the legend Manny Pacquiao box at the Paris Games in 2024. It is one of the dreams of Manny Pacquiao to win a gold medal for his country, and I believe the age limit in which a boxer can be to participate in Olympic boxing is 40. So by the time these games, take place, Pacquiao is going to be 45 years old. So they're petitioning to see if they could, make an exemption, and let Pacquiao compete in the Olympics for a gold medal, man. I mean, when I hear that, I'm like, man, that's exciting. Yeah. But there's two sides to this story. And let me start with you, Bad Chaz. One side of the story could be like, well, is it fair to let a legend in Pacquiao with that vast boxing experience to compete in the Olympics against potentially, amateur fighters, 19, 20-year-olds, up to 40 years old? What's your take on that when you hear that? Yeah, that's a great point. You start to think to yourself, is it worth that risk? Is that something that is really a good idea? He's up there in age.
But you know what? Manny
back
Pacquiao,
and forth,
he has
yeah.
a very commendable career. You know, like when you look back at his career and
All-time
what he's
great.
done for boxing, he's an all-time great. Exactly. And you know what? He's really good at making history. And if this is something that he's came out and said that he wants, and that it's something that's been a dream of his, I have to honor it. You know, and I think everyone else should
Support
honor it too. It's not like it's being pushed upon him. It's something that he's expressing. It's something that he wants. Then I support it. And I think that it would be a great introduction to boxing, along with, you know, they're trying to do away with the boxing in the Olympics.
Right.
So I think, well, maybe this might be something that it could be a pivot for them to kind of keep it, you know, going. You know, maybe he can make a good impression, or and he can kind of put his foot in the door somehow. And you know, he's a very a political person. You know, so hopefully he can kind of go in there and network and you know, keep it alive. You know, for our future generations, and keep that as a resource to us and an opportunity for our next generations.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. Yeah, absolutely.
I back it.
Yeah, and then, as you're saying that, you know, I want to say I back it as well. It's intriguing. It's intriguing to me. Let's go to the flip side of that coin. It's a dream of Pacquiao to represent the Philippines and have that chance of winning the gold medal. Before I even get into that, what is your overall, you know, your first impression upon hearing that story, man?
You know what, dude? What the Olympics always means to me is like, who's the best in the world? You know what I mean? And like, let me get the best in who I think is in the world in my country,
Right.
against your best in the world, who you think, you know, can compete with my best in the world.
And then it just reminded me of the dream team in basketball, right?
Exactly.
They have all the best
Yeah.
basketball players, you know, wiping out the floor with
so
the
let's
other
put
countries.
our best in the world against your best in the world,
Right,
you know,
right.
or our best in the country against your best in the country. And I think
Maybe that's
Pacquiao is
what
the
might
best
happen.
in their country.
Yeah.
So why not put him up with the best in whoever else's country? You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So I'm all for it, dude. Yeah, definitely. If Pacquiao beats and he competes in that tournament to go to the Olympics and he wins and he's the guy that deserves that spot, then put him in there, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just an interesting story.
Yeah.
So we'll see how you know how this develops. Anything else you want to add? That
You know, I just had like a little like kind of a brain fart, but I mean, you think about other fighters, you know, his era or his age, and I mean, they're over here doing not real fights, but they're making money off of fans selling
Exhibitions
pay-per-view,
and
doing
stuff, yeah.
exhibitions. But here it is, Manny Pacquiao trying to go to the Olympics. It just says a lot about his character.
Yeah. Well said, man. Because then I'm thinking, I mean, just because he's a legend, but he is 45 years old, and him fighting youngsters, you know, that are fresh, fast. You know, he takes that chance of maybe even, you know, being beaten. You know what I'm saying, right? So, like I said, great story, man. Hope to see you know what happens with this, and if we see Pacquiao in the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, that's we're all gonna be tuned in, right? It's gonna be, the whole world will be watching.
yeah.
So great stuff.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's turn our attention to a fight that's been made official November 25th. We have David Benavidez versus Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Man, great fight. Great fight for David Benavidez to make a statement. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, he needs to make a statement, right? What do you think, man?
You know what? I don't know, man. It's hard to say because if he makes too big of a statement, maybe Canelo won't want him.
Right, yeah.
But if he makes too less of a statement, Canelo might not want him.
Right.
So it's hard to say, dude. I want Benavidez to win and I want him to fight Canelo, but I just don't want Benavidez to go in there and just destroy him because Benavidez is that guy, dude, and he's that monster, and that's what he does, dude. But I want him to fight Canelo, and I want Canelo to want to fight him. So it's just a hard one to call, bro.
Actually, in my opinion, it could be a dangerous fight. In my opinion, if he looks good, that's great. He corners Canelo. In my opinion, like, hey, I just beat this guy that you didn't want to fight. I beat him, convincingly. I'm the number one contender. You have to, the fans are gonna want this fight.
They already want it.
They already want. They're gonna want it even more.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, Bad Chaz, Andrade is maybe slick, but he has a unique style, right? Where he can maybe make Benavidez maybe even look bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which could maybe hurt Benavidez in the long run.
Yeah.
As far as if he makes him look bad in the ring. What's your take on that possibility, man?
You know what? like you said, man, that can happen.
Right. That's what I'm
with
saying.
any of these fights that we
Exactly,
discussed.
yeah.
You know, they all. That's what we love about the
Styles
sport.
make fights.
But David Benavidez, he has power. He has
Yeah.
high volume. We've seen how he worked with Caleb Plant in the last fight. You know, how he moved forward, how he advanced, how he was kind of using some upper body movement. You know, I think that he's grown a lot as a fighter. And I think that anybody that gets in the ring is going to have trouble with him. His pressure is just, you know, tremendous, man.
Yeah.
And nothing but respect for that, because there's just not a lot of people that belong in the ring with that kind of opposition, man.
Yeah.
They can't tolerate it. They can't perform well. I think that, you know, it's just styles make fights, you know, and he might present a style that, you know, kind of stumbles David, you know, that's always a percentage. But I think David goes in there and, you know, he makes a good impression. And I think that he already deserves that fight with Canelo. I don't think he needs to make any more impression. Like, I mean, unless he just, you know, fell on his face or he lost that fight, but I don't see that really happening. I hope that, you know, he goes in there and he makes a good impression and, you know, dominates that fight, and we get to see him fight Canelo soon.
Yeah, we want that fight. Boo Boo Andrade, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, has one fight in 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that's going to play a role in this fight. Benavidez is just in his bag right now. He's just on a roll, you know, coming off that Caleb Plant unanimous decision in which he just totally dominated Caleb Plant. Great win. And like I believe in this one, he gets another great win. Like I said, Canelo's I mean, he'll have a choice, but a lot of people are gonna really critique him even harder.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's gonna maybe even deserve that critique this time around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What do you think, man?
No, you're right, dude. If Benavidez wins, dude, which I think he should.
Yeah.
Canelo's the next guy, dude. It has to be. And if it's not, it's like another Pacquiao Floyd type of thing, because it's that big,
Right,
dude.
dragging
Mexicans
out,
want it.
Yeah.
And if you get it, it might be too late. But I think that's the next fight to happen, dude. I think Benavidez looks good, dude. I think Andre just doesn't have that grit that Benavidez does, dude. He might have that skill, but man, you all know boxing, dude. You have to have that heart, that grit, just that bite down on that, you know, mouthpiece and just deliver, you know, that, you know, final blow, dude. So I think Benavidez pulls it out, dude, and he definitely deserves Canelo after this one.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely, guys. It's an exciting fight. I'm looking forward to it. You know, again, Benavidez stays busy, and then it just makes another statement as to why he should be Canelo's next opponent.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, do not miss David Benavidez versus Boo Boo Andrade, November 25th. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our podcast. Bad Chaz, any shout outs you want to make, brother?
Oh, you know what? I'd like to make a shout out to the cutmen. You know, when we're watching these fights on the weekends and stuff, these guys are working the corner, you know, in between the rounds, and it's just impressive. These guys are going in the next round looking like they're not even banged up. And if it wasn't for us being able to have some of these guys on the show, you know, to where we actually knew what it consists of, you know, we wouldn't have a clue, man.
Yeah.
So just want to give them a shout out and huge respect, man.
Absolutely. Well said, Bad Chaz. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, any shout outs you want to make?
Yeah, I want to give Jaxon a shout out, man.
cool. Yeah.
I seen a commercial that he had done with Devin Haney and Regis Prograis, and man, that was just awesome, dude. And I got a chat with him earlier this week, and he told me, you know, like how grateful he was to have that experience with them, and that was just dope, dude. I'm glad to see you growing, man, and keep growing.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and it
we
seems
respect
like they have a Jackson 2.0 glove,
Yeah,
right?
they do.
I must assume it must be a better, you know, their next generation of glove, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations to all them, you know. I want to make a shout out to all of our viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for commenting on our podcast. We greatly appreciate you guys. As always, shout out to sound guy Rob, cameraman Liam. Thank you guys again for all your help. And with that said, guys, I am Coach D, along with co-host Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. And we're out, guys.